What's up guys, Subzero here, back for another VOD review. This is a spicy game because we're in the Azir encounter where the 3-2 and 4-2 augments are moved, and also Prestivant gets a really interesting augment this game, one of the coolest augments of the set, and one of the most broken ones if you know how to play that. That all right after a word from our sponsor real quick. Today's video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. I got these about a month ago now, and I can now give you guys my month in review. If you guys aren't familiar with Manta Sleep, these are really high quality premium sleep masks. You can see when you put these on your head, it's completely blackout. You cannot see a single thing. But yeah, they're really nicely constructed. One of the first things that I want to say after having these guys for a month is that they're basically exactly as I received them. A few years ago, I got some dubious quality sleep masks on Amazon, and I was like, these will probably be fine. And like, definitely a month into having those, you could feel the wear and tear. These feel perfect, as soft, as well constructed as I first got them. They feel amazing. I've also been using them more for this kind of like midday napping kind of stuff, and it's so nice actually just to have the full blackout experience and these really soft, comfy masks on your face. If you guys didn't see the first time I talked about these, they're really comfy, really breathable. So when you put these on, it's not like your face gets hot or anything. You just have this mask over your face. It's kind of like comforting, almost like a bit of like a weighted blanket type effect where you have it over your eyes and you're just completely sort of like secure in that, and it makes you feel really comfy and blocking out all of the light, which is amazing. So if you guys are interested in getting yourself some sleep masks, go to their website. The link is in the description down below. Use code Subzero for a discount on your order. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's get into the review. Prestivant gets an early drop of a Zoe and an Alune here, both pretty crummy 3 costs. Honestly, as far as 3 costs go, there are a lot of better 3 costs that you can hit. Zoe at least has the upside of, we have this Sivir here. She could be Story Weaver for an early Story Weaver opener. We do, though, pick up an Ahri pair here, and what was that? I don't think he meant to do that, but he just accidentally cloaks his Sivir there, but that's fine. But with the Ahri 2, we're probably not interested in playing around the Sivir. We are much more likely to be playing around this Fated opener, as long as we can pick up a Fated unit. With all these items here, 5-item opener, this puts us in a really nice spot to play around Fine Vintage. So if you guys aren't familiar with Fine Vintage, basically, you're going to see Prestivant just make a bunch of items here and leave them on his bench. You have to leave items on your bench, full items, for 3 rounds. And after 3 rounds, it gives you a support item anvil. Not a random support item, but a support item anvil. So you get to pick, from 4 support items, what support item you want after 3 rounds of those items transforming. This usually means that you're playing around support items that scale off of each other. So there are a few different variations of it. There's one variation that we're not going to cover in this game, which is the Zzrot version, where you get a bunch of Zzrots, you get like lockets, and then scale up these Zzrots and have like an infinitely tanky Zzrot army that can also do a bunch of damage when you play around heavenly units, which is pretty cool, but not what we're going to play around this game. We're going to play around the first version that a lot of people started talking about right when this comp was discovered, which is the Aegis and Randuin's version, where you get a bunch of Aegis the Legions, you get a bunch of Randuins, and you use those to just create an incredibly tanky and high attack speed board. You can even play around Needlessly Big Gem in the late game, so you have this really tanky build that eventually gets scaled up by the gem. So yeah, there's a lot you can do. One thing that you do tend to really like in this comp is playing around Story Weaver. It's really either Story Weaver or Duelists here. We have kind of both options open, but because we hit the Garen here, we get to play around Story Weaver. It's nice because it just gives you an extra unit to buff. It also gives you kind of like guaranteed damage because we aren't going to have carry items for a while. So having this Kale that can sort of guarantee be a backline carry is really nice. As you can see, the little stuff swirling around our items on the bench there, that means they are about to transform, and so we're going to get 2 anvils next round. But yeah, this Augment tends to be really strong in item openers like this, where you have a lot of items, because it guarantees that we have 2 items transform. You wouldn't really want it in like a full gold opener with only 2 items or like 2 components, because that would be kind of difficult. But yeah, we're gonna pop these here. We have a lot of options here. Like, you could go from the spot down the Zzrot route or the Randuin's route. I like the Randuin's route. And yeah, Prestivant's gonna have to actually end up taking the Obsidian Cleaver here, which I wouldn't say is the best option. It does guarantee you Shred, which is nice, but we already have Shred on the Kale. So I'd already say this is not not the most amazing start, actually, because we were forced to take Black Cleaver. That's the only scary thing about this augment, is that you can sometimes end up in spots where you just get not amazing items, and that can be really, really scary. The nice thing is that with 4 choices, usually you can pick up something that's takeable. But yeah, like I was talking about, put the randoms onto the Nico here, use it on our entire board to just make a very tanky board. We also made that Protector's Vow that's once again just sitting on our bench. Also, that looked like another person who's playing Fine Vintage, but they got Aegis, which is probably the best start. Maybe Aegis Randomins, but you really want Aegis the Legion. I tried playing this augment, didn't find a single Aegis, and maybe I was supposed to play a different line, but needless to say, the game did not go that well. So that's part of the reason why we're watching this game as well, is for my own educational purposes, so I can see how you play. Because Precedent basically had an opener similar to mine, where he gets this Randomins, but he just gets a Black Cleaver. Hopefully, we're gonna pick up an Aegis soon. The nice thing is that we have this Zyra too. We have this Guarantee to play around, so we have a decent board. And if we end up picking up a 5th Story Weaver, if we can find that Riven, then, and there it is, we actually might have a really, really nice board. Also, smart play by Precedent, immediately make that item and sell the unit, because you want to get items down on your bench as fast as possible. But yeah, another awkward pick here. We're going to pick up the Virtue of the Martyr, which once again will kind of, scale with the other items, but we're really going to have to have Story Weaver carry us through this early game. The nice thing is that, we have a lot of 2-star units here. We hit the Nico 2, we hit the Zyra 2. I think 2-star units are actually quite important when you're playing around this, because you want to scale RMR on units with more HP. You want, you don't want a board where your entire board's 1-star and you don't have much to play around. But yeah, now he gets level for the Riven. The attack speed on Kale is actually fantastic here, because it is, scaling attack speed. And this is a board where we want to play for just a lot of time. And we're going to transform this Nashor's next round, which is really, really nice, just to get another item for ourselves. It would be very nice to have another one. Hopefully an Aegis, but even another Randwoods would be fantastic. Once you've picked the Randwoods, it's kind of awkward to pick up Locket, which is why we ended up picking up the Virtue of the Martyr there, because it's hard to position Randwoods and Locket, so you really want support items that synergize with each other. Finally, there's the Aegis, so we can be pretty happy about that. And we also happen to pick up a random Galio here, which is not bad at all. Just trying to figure out how to position the Aegis. I think what you can do is basically move the Riven up. She ends up losing Locket, but then you get to Aegis your entire team. I think that's how you're supposed to do it, but I guess the downside is then, if she has Aegis on herself, you would just lose Locket onto Riven, but you can at least Aegis your entire team. I think that's what you're supposed to go for. But yeah, the upside is that we've made it through the early game with 85 HP. I think, this is a scary augment to take early, because you are playing down all of your items for quite a while. But once you can get through the early game, start making it to late game, I think it feels a lot better, just because you have all of these support items made. You have a really, really tanky board, which is nice. And yeah, there he goes and moves the Riven up so that he can actually hit the Aegis onto his entire board. And so yeah, we're basically going to put all of our Aegises on this front unit in the Riven, and then the Locket is going to tank up all of our other units. They need a bunch of attack speed, RMR, and as long as we can give them HP somehow, which, sometimes just through 2-starring them, we'll be very, very happy. We also still haven't seen our second augment this game, which is pretty funny because of the encounter. We got an encounter coming up really, really soon as well, so that'll make things interesting. But you can see the Kale is really, really nice here. She's the majority of our damage. You need units like the Kale. So we could take a Component Anvil, which would be half the support item. Wow, President just goes for the player health just so we can make it as far as possible. That's really interesting. That's my least that was my least favorite option out of the choices that he had here. But maybe he's thinking he can take player health and that'll allow him to push like fast 8, fast 9 type stuff. He won't really have to roll it all on level 7 if he just takes the player health here. I have to imagine that's the idea, but I mean, half a support item, for 10 gold, it's kind of a bit much. That's valuing a support item at 20 gold. So I feel like maybe I would have just taken the gold, but I mean, the more items, the better. It's hard, but yeah. We will continue our streak though, 6 streak here. Once we got through that early game where, the first 2 items transformed, with this Story Weaver board, he's just doing a ton of work. I think, after seeing how this board's performed, I feel like Story Weaver has to be kind of like the default way that you play it. He's going to make 1 item here and then hold on to this death cap here, which is pretty interesting. I don't know if that was APM diff or... It almost looks like he wants to hold on to that death cap as an item here, because at some point you do have to start making real items. You want to itemize like a carry at some point this game, and so yeah, I think Prestivent might be saying he wants to hold on to this death cap. I was thinking maybe Guinsoo. I think Guinsoo, you know, makes a ton of sense in this comp because you want to play around these really, really long scaling fights, and so if you make a Guinsoo, then, you know, say this Zyra could be like scaling up across the entire fight and then be, you know, autoing really fast and maybe finish everything off. We kind of have a Guinsoo inbuilt on the Kale, which is nice, but yeah, he's holding on to this Rod. The other thing, now that I think about it, the reason why he's holding on to Rod as opposed to like making the Guinsoo there is that he wants anti-heal on this. He probably wants to go for Morello as his item. Ooh, we're gonna pick up Lissandra immediately. That is one of the best units that you can pick up in this setup. The Lissandra is fantastic here because you guys know Lissandra, she has a chance of farming items. If we can farm components here, we are going to be in heaven. So yeah, actually thinking about it more, I'm sure the reason that he doesn't make Guinsoo here or even Deathcap is that he wants to hold one of these rods for a Morello because there's a high chance that we are not going to, if we turn all of our items into support items, that we're not going to have anti-heal on our board. He is going to get another support item. 4 free rerolls is, I mean, not bad when you're already level 8. We can roll and maybe high roll something. Not really finding anything too crazy here, or in a fantastic unit, but I don't know if he even really fits on the board. So yeah, a little bit of a sad roll down here, but I mean, at 100 HP this streak, we're just going to start pushing levels. Still not another Aegis, so we're going to have to go for the gem, I think, because all the other ones are pretty untakeable. And gem is fine in this comp. I would definitely prefer to have another Aegis here before we start looking for gem. But yeah, he has to take the gem here. We're going to make it to the gem, but it's just our entire board is basically already dead. So yeah, I mean, you can see, even in this position where Prestivent got pretty unlucky on items, he's found 1 Aegis across the course of like 6 support items or something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Across 5 support items, could be 6 if he had made the other one. He still has not seen a single, oh, he's seen 1 Aegis, so it's pretty interesting how kind of low roll this setup is and how well he's done. 89 HP. I assume this is for Archangels, actually. Yeah, I like, oh, it looks like he's not even going to make the Archangels. It looks like he just wants Morellos. I was thinking maybe Archangels could be your real item that you build here, just because once again, it's the same idea, right? You're playing for scaling, but looks like he just wants to forge the Archangels. The only item that he wants to build is Morello. Other fine vintage player, by the way, that's an Aurelia 2 on their bench, right? Or on their board. Yeah, they managed to get this set up, and they have Aurelia 2, so this might be the only player that we're kind of scared of, though. We're actually maybe going to win this fight. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, haves and have-nots, that person is really low HP. Looks like he's going to go for the Martyr here. I mean, you know, it makes a lot of sense. You have all these units with very high armor and MR. Martyr healing them up is going to give them more HP to scale that armor and MR off of, so makes sense. I was thinking maybe even the Magic Wand gives you another component, and, you know, it's half a support item, but, I mean, okay, Martyr is surely better. Let's not get too unreasonable here. But yeah, we're gonna, I guess, find our 3rd Augment some point, stage 5, maybe. I don't know if they can go in. I think they can go into stage 6. I think it's probably unlikely, but it I think might be able to happen. But yeah, I mean, at this point, our board has scaled up. We have enough, you know, 2-star units. We picked up another item here, and that's, oh, I thought that was a belt as it was flying through. It's not. I was getting excited for the Morello here, but it's actually just a cloak here, which, you know, will end up being another support item. Yeah, ooh. Oh, I love this. I love this out of Prestivent. He's getting ready to make items really quickly. So he's saying, you know, like, if I get, yep, I'm going to get this item, so I'm immediately going to make this. So he's just prepping to slam as quickly as possible. You don't have to make the Morello that fast, but I guess he wants to make it. There's another Aegis, which is really nice. And then the Morello, I guess, yeah, it's going to go on Soraka for now. Eventually, that's going to go on to like a Hui and a Zir, some kind of late game 5-cost carry, which is what we really want to play for here. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that other player is so low HP. That's the crazy thing about this Augment to me, is that, you know, like, it starts off pretty slow. So if you don't get a strong board with a lot of 2-star units, you sometimes just run out of damage. But yeah, looks like Prestivent's looking to just play around Storyweaver the entire game. Maybe just play a 7 Storyweaver board with no Storyweaver emblem, which is pretty wild, but he just wants to go for it here. Combat Caster, a fantastic augment, allows you to play around shields. You could actually think about You Have My Bow here, because it makes you basically a full support item, but yeah, Combat Caster is a bit too good to pass up here, so we're just going to roll down, try to pick up some upgrades onto our board here. Ideally pick up a 5-cost that we can start playing around here. I mean, the Azir is 1. I wonder if he wants to play it, or if no, he just rolls right past it. Yeah, he isn't interested in playing the Azir. He's interested in just playing around Storyweaver as long as possible, pretty much the entire game at this point. And it makes sense, right? It synergizes fantastically with this augment here. Oh, that was Lissandra farming gold. I was like, needlessly, Big Gem doesn't farm gold anymore, but it almost looked like he farmed gold off of it. But yeah, I mean, I think this makes a lot of sense. You look at just how much work this Kale is doing here, and it almost seems impossible to pivot out of it. I guess we have to go for another Virtue. Ooh, he's going to pick up the Zephyr, the late game Zephyr. Yeah, I mean, Zephyr, a fantastic support item. When the problem with Zephyr is that it's kind of hard to move your entire board in this setup, so you're basically just going to be throwing it onto someone, yeah, like the Soraka here, and hoping that they are in the opposite corner of you. And I mean, hey, we get to cheese it. Zephyring a Gwinsu Bard is huge, actually, because it slows down him acquiring those Gwinsu stacks. And, you know, maybe this is the difference maker in this fight. It looks really close. It actually might have been. And that means we get to kill off Marcel there, which is really, really cool. There is, okay, yeah, the Hui gets taken immediately. Who's not taking a Hui on this carousel here? Probably just going to take another item. I mean, you could... We don't even need Shred, though, because we have the Black Cleaver. I feel like you always kind of end up with Black Cleaver in this comp. Could be Gwinsu, right? Like I was talking about earlier, as an item that you can play around as a real item. We'll see. I mean, you have so much opportunity, so many options when you play this comp, right? You could play around the Gwinsu. You could decide to reforge it into a support item. There's, you know, the world is your oyster, especially when you're in a spot like this and you're level 9, 20 gold. He gets in a random Nautilus here just for Warden and, you know, the CC of Nautilus. Nautilus going to be kind of guaranteed to get a cast off here, even though he's Nautilus 1, which you usually are afraid of not casting in fights like these. But because we have so much tankiness from the Randuins here, we actually get the cast off, which is nice here. Fighting kind of a capped out board. Okay, we get the random dummy. I mean, low-key, the dummy is not that bad because you can apply everything to it, but looks like Precedent is not actually that interested. We're going to get the Wukong in here, who's a fantastic level 9 unit, and it looks like he's just going to be a guy on the board here, a Heavenly unit, which makes sense, right? It's for the same idea as the ZZ Rot, like Heavenly version. You have so many units that are already getting so many stats, you know, like in this board with Heavenly, with everything that, you know, like Sivir is getting here, like Sivir can be a minor carry in her own. You know, you just kind of carry the entire board, you tank the entire board, and you're happy with it. Got to make that item really, really quick. He makes the vow, very nice. But yeah, you can see there, you know, every unit on his board doing a little bit of damage. There's no one unit that's carrying the board. It's just it's a team effort. You know, it's a true team effort in TFT. When you usually have a main carry, this is like straight up, you know, teaming. We pick up our Khan here, which he has a really, really nice unit to get in late game. Also fits pretty well into this comp because we want to play around Ultrist. We're going to get a support item here. Ooh, that is the third Aegis, which is really, really nice. Is Precedent looking at going 10 here? I feel like you have to roll on 9 in this position. There's so many upgrades left to find. Gonna get the Lee Sin plus the Irelia in. Wants to get the Rakan potentially in. Gonna go for the red Kale upgrade as well, just more damage on Kale, and then yeah, gonna move these items over to Irelia. Opts to actually say that, you know, in 3 rounds this game might be near over. I'm gonna actually start just putting these items on my carries. I can't wait that long. And yeah, red Kale doing a ton of work. Now we might... Oh, that's Rakan Bear, but how do you actually fit it? Because it looks like he really, really likes Story Weaver. Okay, he just fits it right in there. I don't actually know what unit he cut there. Was that Heavenly? I'm not going to worry too hard about it. Actually, you know what? I am going to worry about it. What unit do we cut here? It was... Oh, was this... It was the Soraka that was in, or the Nico. Yeah, so it was Heavenly, but we're not actually playing around Heavenly anymore because we ended up getting out of the Wukong here, throw random Randuins onto our Zoe, which is pretty funny. And yeah, we can just position this huge clump. I feel like you maybe could use this dummy, not even necessarily to get support item value, but just to like be a bait on the right side here so that the enemy team doesn't just full clump into us. But looks like Precedent's not even worried about that. I mean, look how tanky our board is. It like none of our... Like, our front line dies, but our back line is so tanky. Like, they're just full tanking huge Rakan ultimates here. So, yeah, it looks like we are able to just go level 10 in this spot here and get... I mean, the obvious addition is a Diana or a Soraka, either the third Ultrist or another Dragon Lord plus Sage. Both fantastic level 9 additions to this, well, level 10 additions to this board. But yeah, going against Raboban's board where he's playing around this Ashe, don't think there's any way his board can beat ours. Yeah, just cannot get through the sheer tankiness of this board. He's 31 HP, but he's only got 1 more round to live. The only thing that we have to deny is maybe like a 3-star Ashe or something like that, but I didn't see Raboban's bench. I assume... he's got 4 Ashes. Yeah, that's almost impossible here. Precedent does go for the quick scout to make sure, and then just pushes level 9 here. There's a random Morgana. Ooh, that's going to be Rakan too. Morgana, you know, same thing as Diana, except it doesn't give you another Dragon Lord. Going to move the last item onto the Irelia here, even though we have random Rakan too. We can't... It's not easy to move items over because then we'd lose Irelia, and this has got to be the last fight. I don't I cannot conceive of a world in which Robert Van wins this fight, and yeah, it is not even close. That is going to be the win for Prestevin. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed learning about this kind of crazy comp. It's absolutely wild if you can get to it, and this Augment, I think, has pretty low win rate at low elo, but like does really, really well at high elo once people understand how to play around it. So hopefully this video gave you guys some information on how to play around it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out all my links down below. Thanks for watching.